Plants provide us with food to eat and oxygen to breathe. They perform this amazing feat by the process of photosynthesis. Let's take a closer look. Photosynthesis requires carbon dioxide, which diffuses into the leaf through small pores and then enters the cells. Inside the cell, carbon dioxide diffuses into the chloroplasts, where photosynthesis takes place. Chloroplasts use energy from light to transform carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. Zooming into a chloroplast, we see these flattened membranous sacs called thylakoids. Here, light energy is converted to chemical energy in the first phase of photosynthesis, the light reactions. The two green structures you see here are photosystems, large complexes of proteins and chlorophyll that capture light energy. An electron transport chain connects the two photosystems. Notice the small mobile electron carriers that shuttle electrons from one large complex to another. Now let's take a closer look at the steps of the light reactions. The photosystem on the left absorbs light energy, exciting electrons that enter the electron transport chain. Electrons are replaced with electrons stripped from water, creating oxygen as a byproduct. The energized electrons flow down the electron transport chain, releasing energy that is used to pump hydrogen ions, the blue balls, into the thylakoid. In the photosystem on the right, light energy excites electrons, and this time the electrons are captured by an electron carrier molecule, NADPH. The high concentration of hydrogen ions inside the thylakoid powers ATP synthase, producing ATPs. The light reactions in the thylakoid have produced two energy products, ATP and NADPH, that will now power the production of sugar in the Calvin cycle.
Now that we watched that video, I want to recap a few ideas. The first one is that you have two photosystems, and ironically, this is called, they start in the photosystem 2 and then go to the photosynthesis 1. Why? Because this one was found first. This one was found first, and this one was found later. So they didn't want to change the name to not confuse and to not change all the names in the current literature. But so the photosynthesis 2 go first, and they capture different type of wavelength. So this is 608 and this is 700. Photosynthesis is formed of two things, the reaction center and also this light harvesting complex. And if you see here, the photosystem are joined by this electron transport chain that they discussed in the video. So I wanted you to remember that first, that a photosystem consists of two things: a reaction center complex that is surrounded by a light harvesting complex. And if you see this light harvesting complex, you have here pigments and different proteins that allow this molecule of water that broke into two to increase the energy level of the electrons. So second thing, that the light harvesting complex is formed by pigments bound to proteins that transfer electron photons to the reaction center. So as I said, they move from here to here. And finally, I told you that there are two photosystems in the thylakoid membrane, the photosynthesis 2 and the photosystem 1. In your textbook also, they give you this very cool explanation that is much simpler of what happened with the linear electron flow during photosynthesis. And they show you a mechanical analogy for electron flow during the light reactions. So here in the beginning, you have this guy that is allowing that the electron increase in energy. So here you have the photons, so you have light here that allow you to increase the energy in these electrons, and later these electrons will flow through electron transport chain, and they have this mill that makes ATP, the rotor, and these produce ATP. Later, again, you have more light here, more photons, that it will transfer energy, that it will increase again the energy level of this electron, and this will allow us to make NADPH. So you have two products, NADPH and ATP. And again, in the beginning, you have the photosystem 2, and later you have the photosystem 1. So the photosystem 2 is the one that allow you to make ATP and ATP, and the photosystem 1, the last one, allow you to make NADPH. So here you have another schematic that tries to summarize the entire process of the photosynthesis. Here they explain that you can have electrons of different energy levels. They can go here low to high. So in this part of the diagram, all this section will be high energy electrons. So you start with photons that they will allow you to split the molecule of water, and also the electrons will go up and to the reaction center, and then they will go to an electron transport change, and in this case it will be different proteins. Here you have the cytochrome complex, and this will produce ATP through this proton motive force, similar to what happened during cellular respiration. Later on, you go to a similar process when that allow the electrons to increase in energy level. Why? Because you have again light, and this go again to an electron transport change. In this case, you have ferredoxin, and the ferredoxin will allow to produce NADPH. So again, you have two photosystems. In one, you produce ATP as a product, and in the other one, you produce NADPH. This one, as a byproduct, you produce oxygen. In this case, you don't release oxygen anymore.